Hello friends, welcome back to part 3 of this old vintage, it's got to be like a 50-year-old LNA pressure washer rebuild exploration. Let's see if we can get it working and see how well it works. This is part 3, so if you haven't seen 2 or 1, I encourage you to go back and watch those. Kind of some really fun things I've learned along the way about solenoid valves and the manifolds, and particularly the twin piston pump, and how not to press them back apart or together. Learned some important things, and this week we're gonna see what happens when we plug it in and turn it on and see if it explodes, blows water all over, or just works magically awesome. We'll see. All right, let's dive into it and see what happens. Okay, a little bit of the moment of truth here. The pressure hose is hooked up. I do not have a nozzle in the end of it yet, simply because I don't have one. I have the little quick disconnect, but I took that out because I want to flush out the lines as it goes. Also, right down here, I do not have the suction hose, I think, for the solvent intake. But let's see what happens. So we go from off to water. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the rinse light comes on and water is coming out the soap. Did not expect that. It's on water, not rinse. So if I switch to rinse, the pump turns on. I got a decent stream. The water's still gushing out the soap. If I switch to mix, the pump continues, but the water's not coming out. If I switch to concentrate, nothing happens. It's not exactly what I expected. I wonder if I got the controls hooked back up incorrectly. All right, I'm gonna go verify those wires. Okay, here's where I am. I'm a little frustrated because I can't quite figure it out. I feel like I'm not smart enough. But the power is on and the water is on right now to it, which one thing that's amazing is there's no leaks. None. Not a drip. I don't see water leaking out of the valves or the hoses anywhere. And what that amazes me is that means those solenoids with that little needle that plug off that gasket in the manifold are working. They're completely watertight. And when I switch this to water, I put a plug in where the soap intake, I'm assuming it's an intake where that water was gushing out. I put a little plug in there, NPT plug, so water would stop coming out. But when I turn this to water, look at that spray. Now the pump's not running yet, so that's just regular water line pressure. But when I go on and off with it, that's just being controlled by the little click of that solenoid. So that solenoid works amazingly well. Now when I go one farther, the pump turns on. My pressure doesn't increase significantly at all, which I'm not surprised by because there's no nozzle on the end to provide any back pressure. So the pump's just putting it out. There's no resistance whatsoever. So I think I've got 2 tasks. One, I need to get a high pressure nozzle for it to see if that makes much of a difference or if it's just worthless as a pump pressure washer. And 2, I got to figure out how that soap circuit was supposed to work. Is that supposed to be pushing water out like it is to a soap solution or something, or is it supposed to be sucking it in? And that I don't know yet. So I'm gonna go to the parts store, buy some nozzles, cross my fingers. I think Harbor Freight has some that will fit the 1/4 inch quick disconnect. And I'm gonna scratch my head and maybe do a little web search on the function of it, and how that soap concentrate is supposed to work. So we're close. We're close. Can almost taste it. All right. Thanks for sticking with me. I am back from running to the store. I had hoped to buy a pressure nozzle for this, what I thought was a 1/4 inch quick disconnect. The ID of the opening here is a 1/4 inch. This is an 1/8 inch NPT. This is not at all the size that modern pressure washers use. And the nozzles that you can buy at the hardware store for pressure washers will not fit this, and is the wrong pipe thread size. That would need to do quite a bit of adapting. I'm also a little suspect that they would work well because I think they're designed for higher pressures than what this pump will put out, which is also why I wonder how effective this pump is going to be. Here's what I'm going to try, because I really don't have much to lose at this point. I bought a 1/8 inch NPT square end plug, and I have a 16th inch drill bit, which is the smallest one that I have. I'm going to very carefully see if I can drill a pinhole through this and try this and see what kind of back pressure that will create. I'd even thought, I can try to squish this a little bit to flatten the opening, and maybe mess around and see what effect that might have on it. I think worst case, I'll just learn some as we try this. So I'm gonna first try to see if I can very carefully drill a 16th inch hole through this without breaking my drill bit. All right, so I have chucked the drill bit up as tight as I can so it does less flex. I have the plug in the vise and put a little drop of oil in there. See how this goes. All right, we're through. Let's go see what that does. Okay, put the new little nozzle in. Just finger tight, but that should be fine. Power is on, water is on. So I think that is the spray, just the line pressure. Obviously the pump's not running. Huh. Yeah, it worked too bad. That is not fantastic. I mean, that's not stunning, but it works. All right, I'm gonna try to squish that nozzle a little bit, see if I can make it a little bit of a higher pressure. Oh, it's stuck in there now. So I stuck it in the vise, squished it. See if it'll focus. You can see the hole's a little bit more slotted that way now. So just out of curiosity, let's see what this does. It's kind of convenient. You can just turn it on and off right here at the pump. Water pressure. Let me show you on the ground. So here's the cover for the pressure washer, which is covered in probably 50 years of raccoon poop.
Wow. That's fun.
So I have the power washer wand sitting underneath the cover to stop it from whipping around. And then just wanted to show you the pump. No leaks. I did have to, the water connect came right out here, right into the handle. So there's no way for the hose to hook up to it. So I replumbed the nozzle, or the hose attachment to come out that side. One miscellaneous task I need to do yet is cut a hole in the side panel so this hose entrance can go in there instead of there. I don't know if people, old-fashioned hoses, could do tighter bends, but there's no way my hose could connect to that. So I'm gonna have to cut a hole that's ideally about 2 inches big, 2.5 in, and about 5 up. 2.5 and 5 up. All right, let's try to drill a hole in here. There we go. Nice and smooth. All right, let's put it back in the power washer and see how it looks. Okay, where did we end up with this LNA pressure washer? First of all, shocked and reasonably pleased that it works. It was probably the highlight of it was rebuilding the pump and learning how dual piston pumps work and seeing kind of how that was built and doing the rebuild. Bummer was breaking a few parts along the way, which involved ordering new parts. I'm completely amazed that it's the ultimate power washer ever. Absolutely not. Is it good enough to wash a car, power wash a lawnmower, things like that? Yeah, I think so. I think this one's gonna stick around for a while until, I find a better one or buy a better one or some sponsor provides one or I find a broken one and fix it or something. But if I've got some greasy lawnmower engine or lawnmower deck to clean off or cleaning out the driveway or washing a car, I think this will work great. I really like that it's not gas, and so I don't need to worry about winterizing an engine. I did blow out the power line, I did blow out the pump and the pressure line just to make sure there's no water in it for the rest of the winter. I do yet need to replace this power cord, and generally it seems like every now and then I come across a cord from a device that gets thrown away, so I will probably do that and probably put a longer one on to get this plug farther away from the power washer. I don't see me using the soap function concentrate. Mainly I just see me using it for a washer, so I think I will probably just leave that as is. If somebody's used these before, I'd love you to post a comment below and I'll pin it or add it to my description as to how that's supposed to work. But I think that's it for this project, the Third Stall Garage. I kind of had fun learning how this works, learning how the solenoids and those diaphragm valves and the 24 volt AC transformer and the contactor and the motor and the pump. And I've got a few more things in my mental arsenal for our next project. So thanks for following along. Give the channel a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. But thanks for being a friend of Third Stall Garage. Have a great day.